Good morning, and thank you for joining Modern's webinar on expanding your Infoworks City Furniture Library with Revit. My name is Salome Fourie. I am the Civil Infrastructure Accounts Manager. Presenting today will be Arno Himan. He's our Applications Engineer and part of our Modern Infrastructure team. Please direct all your questions in the Q&A box, and all questions will be answered after the presentation. The webinar is recorded and will be emailed through to you shortly after the webinar. If you have missed any of our previous webinars, you're welcome to visit our Moderna YouTube channel. For any other queries, you're welcome to email or contact me. My details will be in the chat box. Arnu, over to you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to be taking you through a quick tutorial on how to expand your city furniture library by the use of Revit. So first off, this is going to be quite a short workflow. So I'm going to start off with a Revit model now. But currently I just have the basic Autodesk Revit architecture sample open. And that is how we are going to this is the model that we are going to use to insert into our Infoworks. So first off, we have to start off by opening up our Revit and having a 3D view open. I'm going to click at the top here on the default 3D view button inside of Revit. So firstly, I just want to start off by quickly cleaning up this model a little bit. So I just basically want the house and the concrete and the solar panels and all of this. I don't need the ground, and I don't really need these trees right now. Those can all be added afterwards in Infoworks. So I'm just quickly going to do some cleanup by clearing out some of these objects. Okay, and that is what I'm going to be using. Now, please note that when using this process, you are going to lose some of your model definition. For example, these little people models over here and this car. They will not be brought over during the export. Now, to do the export, you need to have your 3D view open because this is the model that is going to be exported. So I'm going to start off by navigating over to the File button at the top left-hand corner and clicking on Export. I'm going to choose a FBX. To follow this workflow in Infoworks, the file that is imported needs to be saved to an FBX file format, otherwise it will not work. So I'm going to click on FBX. Now, currently, let me quickly go over there to my desktop. It should be inside of here. Just have this extra one over here. I'm just going to save it inside of an FBX folder. So anywhere on your computer is fine as long as you know where you store it. I'm just going to call this RVT basic house. And I'm not going to use FBX 2015 and previous. I'm going to use .fbx, just the general FBX export method. You do not necessarily need to set anything else here. You can leave all of these as default. So I'm going to click Save. Now you'll see that it's busy exporting. Okay, and that's basically it. So all we need to do now is navigate over to Infoworks. So currently I just have this little model that I created over here. I'm just going to use this model because it has some nice open space over here with this high school. So first off, we need to start off by importing our Revit export, the FBX model that we have just created. For that, I'm going to go over to the Manage tab at the top left-hand corner and click on the Data Sources button. You can also access this by using the drop-down and clicking Data Sources. So now what we have to do is we first have to add this model into our model, that 3D model into our Infoworks model. So I'm going to use this little drop down on the data sources panel, and I'm going to insert a 3D model. Then you have to navigate over to where you have your drawing saved. That is where I have saved my 3D object FBX file. I'm going to click open. So now you will see that it has been added, but it is not configured as of yet. It does not form part of any of these other definitions. So to continue, you have to right click and go over to configure. You'll see this little window pop up. So firstly, I want to show you that this is how you would see what your model is that you're busy importing. You would navigate over to the 3D model tab. You can zoom around, or you can zoom in and out, and you can navigate around inside of this model. So we are not going to do anything here. We're just going to leave all of these as standard. Now, the most important thing that you would have to know, that you would have to do is over here by type, you would see that it has a little warning message. It says missing field. So this means that it has to be entered. Now, I'm going to click on the drop down and I'm going to add this into my buildings. So it does not matter where you save this, even if you save it as buildings, it will still be part of your city furniture catalog. So I'm going to click on buildings just because it is a building. And you'll see that the little tooltip comes up here. We're not going to use that right now. And now when you look at geolocation, it's asking for coordinates. Now, we are not going to be entering normal coordinates because currently that basic model does not have a shared coordinate set up for our coordinate system. We are just going to use interactive placing. So I'm going to click on interactive placing and then double click to place the model. You will see that this window pops up again, and now we do not have any error messages anymore. All you need to do now is click on close and refresh. Okay, and as you can see, that model is now added into our Infoworks model. But one thing that you have to note now is this is not yet part of our city furniture catalog. What we need to do now is we need to physically go and add this model into our style palette. So I'm going to navigate over to the Manage tab, the Content panel, and then the Style Palette button. You can also access this from the drop-down. I'm going to click on Style Palette. Now, you'll see that your Style Palette opens here. You still have access to your data sources, but we are going to be working in Style Palettes now. So I'm going to navigate down in these tabs to 3D Models. I'm then going to go to Buildings and Residential. As you can see, there's a bunch of preset houses over here. I just want to add this model into this catalog. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to style editing. You can ignore the catalog editing because that just edits the catalog itself, the residential buildings catalog. So I'm going to go down here and click on plus. You'll see that it says define new 3D model. So you have to add a model URI. So you add that by clicking on these ellipses buttons at the right. It automatically opens the last searched location. And I know that this is the model that I want to use. So I'm going to select it and click on open. Now you can go ahead and change the origin on your model, but I'm just going to keep it to local origin at this current moment. Render detail, we're not going to worry too much about that. We still have our all of our textures and everything. It's just the people and the cars that go missing, but that is in the conversion process to FBX. Okay, model handling, we're going to leave that to auto adjust. And actually we can leave all of these as auto adjust. Now there's one little thing that I want to show you guys is you can actually go ahead and drag out this box so that you can actually zoom in and out and navigate around inside of it. You also have your own view cube. Now, when viewing the bounding box, you'll see that the model extents actually go from the lowest point, which is the bottom of the pile foundations, up to the highest point, which is the tip of those little wind turbines. Okay, so please note that this is very important to remember when specifying your model height. Okay, so I'm now just going to click OK. You'll see that it populates inside of here, and now you can automatically just rename it. I'm just going to call this basic RVT house and press enter. And it automatically updates that over there. Now what we can do is we can actually go ahead and close off the style palette. We do not need this anymore right now. I just want the data sources open for now. I'm going to go ahead and remove. Let's just quickly see what the height of this was, 17.943. Okay, I'm just going to remember that for a bit later on. Now I'm going to delete this. And now to show you that it actually worked, that the import or the placing it into the catalog actually worked, I'm going to remove this data source from buildings. Oh, and please note that once you set your type to buildings, it will automatically move the model over to your buildings section over here. But we do not need this model inside of our drawing anymore. So I'm going to remove that link completely. As you can see, it's not in there anymore. Now what we need to do is I want to go show you what you can now do with your city furniture. So if you navigate over on Infoworks to the Create tab and you go over to the Environment panel, you can either use the City Furniture button or the drop down to access your city furniture. You should note that they also have some commands. I'm going to click on City Furniture, and now we have select a draw style. So this is actually where all of the 3D models that are stored within Infoworks that you can just drag and drop are saved. So if I go down a bit, I just want to show you, there it is, basic RVT house. You can also perform a search. So let's call it basic. There we go. So you can click on that and then double click to place your model anywhere. And this is now where that point comes in, where I told you guys to actually remember the height of the building. So there's something that goes missing inside of Infoworks. It's not a big train smash. It's just a little workaround. You'll see that it actually loses its scale. Now, you actually have to go and physically change the height. I think that was 17.943. 17.943. Press enter. And there you go. It does keep the proportions in all directions. You can then go ahead and move this up or down. Let's just put it around there. You can move it front to back, side to side, and you can also use the little square gizmo to drag it around. You can also then rotate it by the use of these little arrows. So that is basically how you add any Revit 3D model into Infoworks. This model will then stay part of Infoworks as long as I decide to keep it there. You can go and delete these styles afterwards and override them. I will show you how to do that shortly. But what I also want to show you is, so that you guys know that it is that this workflow also works completely. If I go back to my create, go to city furniture, I click on that. You can also place an array of these objects. So this isn't ever used, but you have control. So I'm going to click on one point, click on another point, and double click at the end. and you'll see that it actually creates an array. So this is not a widely used function, especially when you're working with houses, but you can then set the density. And let's quickly say, I just want to get the height down, 17.943, enter. There we go. So you can actually go ahead and place multiples of this object. And you'll be able to do this on all of your future Infoworks projects. So let's double click on, just want to, let's undo rather. There we go. Okay. So guys, that is how you add any Revit 3D model into your Infoworks City Furniture library. Now, if you want to go ahead and then delete that, this would be the last step that I'm going to show you guys. You're going to go over to the Manage tab, to your Style palettes, navigate to where you placed your building. It was under Residential. You can click on Basic RVT House, and you can click on Delete the selected style, and that will delete it completely from your Infoworks, and you can then replace it with a new one or whatever you want to do with it. Okay, guys, and thanks for watching. I'm going to quickly go over to my presentations. Are there any questions? Can I see the chat box? Q&A. Okay. Doesn't look like we have any questions. So I think we can leave it at that. Okay, guys, and finally, for additional information, we actually have all of our webinars uploaded onto our YouTube channel, and you can do that by searching for that link or searching for Moderna Design Centers on YouTube. We do post all of our webinars there. Thank you for attending, guys.